was inspired by the next artists that are going to come and read on this stage. A group of really, really talented people from this group called Mixed Rights. And myself, as a mixed race person, every single day I get asked, where are you from? And sometimes it's a fun question to have that conversation, and sometimes it's really frustrating. And I met this wonderful person, Maria, who we clicked immediately on this question, where are you from? And realized that it's not just me, it's a lot of people, and a lot of people making really, really great art. So I'm super, super excited to have Mixed Rights on our stage to do some readings from their work. Mixed Rights is a group of Bay Area mixed race women who meet monthly to workshop, meditate, and feed each other. Feeding is really, really good. In October of last year, Mixed Rights hosted Litquic's first ever mixed race reading to a standing room only audience at the Mission Cultural Center. And in early March, there'll be writers in residency for Writing Between the Lines. They have a mailing list over on that table where you can also pick up cards from all of the artists tonight. So please stay in touch with them. And they're a group of 4 women that are going to do 4 short readings. So please give them your warm applause, and as they come up, I'll read a little bit more about each of the writers that are going to come up today. So first up is Maria T. Allocco, and she is an Academy of American Poets Prize recipient and Voices of Our Nation alum. She's been featured on KPFA and Mutiny Radio, and her work has been performed for Bay Area organizations including SOMARTS, Litquic, Amate, is that right?
Yeah.
Kind of? Okay. Quiet Lightning, and the Intersection for the Arts. Maria is the daughter of a South Korean mother and former Italian Catholic priest. Maria's work focuses on speaking truth and healing multiple layers of identity. She's a co-founder of the Bay Area's first mixed race meditation group and has worked in education nonprofits for over a decade and currently teaches yin yoga to at-risk youth. Maria's What Are You cards, which you may have seen on your benches, will debut this May as part of the San Francisco International Arts Festival, which is super, super exciting. So if you don't have a card on your bench, you can check them out over on the table and take some home for yourself. She only accepts Dana in exchange, is that right?
Yeah.
Which means whatever you like to give as an exchange. And the first piece she'll be reading will come out this April in the book Pariahs, Writing from Outside the Margins. So again, please welcome Maria.
Thank you, Christina. And I would just love to just gush about you for a moment. Thank you so much for curating this event. Every artist up here is coming from mixed identity, so this is a very necessary and beautiful night. So can we give Christina like a huge round of applause, please? This piece is called Chameleon. The little girl is given a test. Which one should I pick? She asks. I'm both. Pick Asian, a boy whispers. Why? She's white, a girl snaps back. Just pick one and move on, the teacher says. Everyone flips the page together, staring back at the black and white question, a storm now brewing inside her. She is gray. Does your mother speak English? Blares the old woman. Can you tell her that I need her to move her car? Knowing her mom understands, wishing she could squeeze her hand, the little girl turns pink. Is that your nanny? The teacher asks. Her mother, now reaching her, extends her hand to greet the teacher. Frozen, the girl turns blue. She watches her best friend skip around with the other blondes on the blacktop. They stop. You don't need to play with her anymore, the leader says. Like the black-haired witch, envious of what the golden tressed possess, she turns green. Hey, chink, a boy says, running off. She watches him ascend the stairs of the school bus, and as it rolls away, learns that today some see her as yellow. She's a preteen in South Korea for the summer. A group of boys laugh and throw stones. She shouts back every Korean swear she knows. Amused, they stop, and she touches a spot, a tender bruise blossoming purple. So, what exactly are you? An upperclassman asks in the bathroom mirror. What do you mean? She questions back. Whatever, I don't really care, the girl declares, closing her giant palette of eyeshadow squares. Representing the only color not there, the teenager turns red. She's at her white aunt's house when her mom gives her the look. Slipping into the kitchen, she takes her position at the sink. As her relatives sip coffee, she scrapes off their plates and turns brown. You serve so nicely, her boyfriend's mother says. That must be your Asian side. She lifts her full glass with a fake tanned hand. Thank you, the woman says, mimicking the mother, sweet and safe with a toxic coat of fake orange. I dated this Asian chick once, but she was kind of uptight. You know those Asian girls, he says. I'm Asian, the woman says. No, you're not, he says, smiling. You're kidding, right? A secret witness. Sometimes she appears white. Thank you.
Hello. I'm short. Okay. So next up we have Faith Adiele. Faith is the author of the Nigerian Nordic Girl's Guide to Lady Problems and Meeting Faith, which won the PEN Beyond Margins Award for her memoir. She's also a writer, narrator, and subject of My Journey Home, a PBS documentary about her mixed family, and editor of Coming of Age Around the World, a multicultural anthology. She teaches at VONA summer workshops for writers of color, California College of the Arts, and San Francisco Writers Grotto. She is completing... I like that. Grotto. the writing grotto. Okay. She is completing Twins, an Afro-Viking epic, which sounds really epic. Epic. Come talk to her if you want to know more and visit her website. This is Faith.
Woo-woo! That's great. Thank you so much. So this summer, some friends of mine got married in the Shakespeare Garden, and they gave us parasols, and I took this picture of me in my linen dress with a parasol wandering through the Shakespeare Garden. I put on Facebook, and I said, writer available to wander through your garden. And no one has ever taken me up on this before now, so I'm so happy to be here. Because when I moved here 7 years ago to the Bay Area, I thought this is what my life would be like every Saturday night, and this is the first time. So thank you for coming to see art on a Saturday night. That's amazing. And I really want to thank Christina and Maria for making this happen. Really wonderful opportunity here. You can't be well behaved when you listen to my work. It just doesn't work. It freaks me out. So where are my hecklers at? All right. So I'm going to read the opening to the Nigerian Nordic Girl's Guide to Lady Problems. It was my ebook. It's also an audiobook. So I think if you go to Barnes & Noble or Amazon or Audio and do a search for Nigerian Nordic, hopefully it will be the only thing that comes up. But this might be enough. You might not want to do that after this. Though the 4 or 5 tumors inside my womb, one the size of a grapefruit, are supposedly benign, their behavior is not as friendly as the word suggests. It's difficult not to interpret their actions as downright hateful. One shoves angrily at my back, forcing me to sleep upright against a bank of pillows like a princess. Another hunkers against my bladder, malicious, sending me constantly loping for the bathroom to strain and strain. 2 clutch high, one churning whenever I eat, the other morose as a prisoner, twisting on its stalk and cutting off its own blood supply. The unconfirmed 5th waits on the bench, ready to go in if any of the first string tires. That's a Super Bowl reference. They're not only angry, but slightly mad, the result of a single cell gone awry that keeps reproducing itself. Enamored of its smooth musculature, its beauty reflected in white on the glistening pink walls of my uterus, it creates an entire vain community to keep itself company, a family of narcissists. Me. I wonder if I'm to blame somehow. The selfish artist, independent woman, worse still, my mother's only child. The irony of their presence, the fact that their actions mimic those of a fetus, is not lost on me, the single girl writer. Modern career woman gives birth to something less than useful. I didn't come to graduate school almost 10 years after finding my unknown father and siblings in Nigeria to get tumors, one the size of a grapefruit. I came to write about finding my unknown father and siblings in Nigeria, and about being raised by my Nordic immigrant mother, and about what a bad sister I am, unable to make myself return to Nigeria. So the change, heavy, painful periods that last 2 weeks at a time and that a parade of blonde doctors at Student Health ascribes to the stress of moving to Iowa, where nothing ever happens, stressful or otherwise, irritates me. Do something, my friends goad, and reluctantly I go online. It is my responsibility to myself as a good modern woman. I need to be informed, proactive, wary of Western pharmaceuticals, but eager to know the worst. The preliminary symptoms suggest fibroids, which the Surgeon General's online medical dictionary, so that's what a Surgeon General does, defines as benign tumors that grow in or on the uterus. Tumors! The threat of the word slyly undercut by the soft promise of benign. How is this possible? How can something be both frightening and friendly? Explain. The General does. They are often embedded in the wall of the uterus, but may be attached to the outside or the inner lining. I can't picture this, so it's intriguing. An army of uninvited children clinging to all sides of the womb, like passengers on a mommy lorry, babies tied to backs, toting live chickens in those red and blue striped Ghana go bags, careening down a Nigerian road, headed for disaster. They can be any size. The largest recorded fibroid weighed 140 pounds. Take that to the Iowa State Fair. Forget about County's biggest boar and life-size butter sculpture of the Last Supper, which I saw. We've got a tumor the size of its host. Raised to rack up bonus points, I memorized the other names for fibroids. Uterine myomas, fibromyomas, leiomyomas, leioma mata uteri. I settle on uterine myomas as the most foreign of the pronounceable options. I'm not yet ready for the casual familiarity of fibroids. Hi, I'm fibroids. I'll be your cross to bear this evening. Fibroid sounds too ordinary, too acceptable, and I haven't accepted any of this. There are pictures for the modern aware woman, a roadmap to our bodies. In the drawings, my womb is an inverted triangular racetrack of rutted pink roads, bulging with cottage cheesy pendulums like the egg sac of some monster insect. The photographs are worse. Shiny pink globs of tissue with obscene purple veins and outbursts of frothy pus. I close my eyes and scroll down, repulsed by the inner workings of my body. I'm thinking about birth and afterbirth, about how my father's people, the Igbo, used to bury a newborn child's umbilical cord and placenta beneath the root of a newly germinated fruit tree, confirmation of how we'd come from and return to earth. In Igbo, the word for land is the same as for the goddess of land, Allah. Allah, the one responsible for fertility of both the land and her children on earth, whom she curses when an abomination is committed. I'm thinking about having children. Thank you.
That was awesome. Okay, next up we have Jackie Graves. Jackie has worked as an educator for 25 years, specializing in community literary arts, creative writing, and tools for academic success. She is tenured instructor and co-chair of the English department at Laney College, a campus leader on student equity, and co-creator of Laney's African American Student Success Program. She's creeping up behind me. Her writing has appeared in publications ranging from Bum Rush, The Page, a deaf poetry jam, to African Voices, to Fortune magazine. She is currently working on a memoir of personal, family, and community healing entitled Why We Wake Up. Everybody please give it up for Jackie.
Thank you, Christina. So happy to be here. And Maria, thank you. In keeping with the theme of mixed race identity, this is a piece called Identities. I am the daughter of a white bipolar mother and a black artist teacher who has believed alternately that he has had a transmitter implanted in his ear by an ET or that he is an alien walk-on from another planet. My first identity was New Yorker. My parents met on a street corner in New York when Mom stopped Dad and asked for directions. She was in town from Rhode Island for the weekend and lost. He lived in Midtown doing art for an advertising company. She thought he was so handsome. The way she smiled at him, he thought he knew her. He offered to show her the way, then took the rest of the day off. In 2 months, they were married. It was 1966. New York, 1960s Bohemia, artists selling paintings along Fifth Avenue to tourists from the fancy hotels lining 59th Street. We live on West 46th at a fourth floor walk-up where Dad gives painting classes to aspiring Picassos from the Art Students League. Bright silver lights illuminate nude women posing for sketch pads, canvases of still lives, landscapes, and empty frames lean against the walls of our apartment, wooden floorboards and the smell of turpentine. Out the window, we peer into an office where ladies sit straight at typewriters, hard at work under dim lights. My second identity was sister. I'm the second of 4 daughters. The first 3 girls born a year apart, staircase sisters, wearing matching dresses made by Grandma's sister. The oldest daughter of 13 brothers and sisters in the deep Virginia South. Everyone called her sister. My third identity, interracial. Mom told us we were African, American Indian, French Canadian, Irish, English, and German. She was proud of her high cheekbones that showed her Native American ancestry and on her dad's side. On my father's side, Nanny was half Cherokee with her hair in a long braid down her back. In kindergarten, a little girl from the 4th grade cornered me against the wall outside the bathroom and won't let me pass. "What are you?" she asked, "black or white?" She loomed over me, her words hurled with a fury that whirled inside me. I stood alone in a frozen place, a snowball globe shaken up, white flakes flurrying around the quiet. I tried to open my mouth to say, African, American, Indian, French, Canadian, Irish, English, German, but I said nothing. Nothing came out. I'm Catholic. I received First Holy Communion, but first I must confess to the priest. "Bless me, Father, for I have sinned," they taught me to say. I kneel on a small pew inside this wooden booth. Behind the mesh screen, a white man says, "Tell me your sins, child." Fear catches my throat and silence surrounds me in the wooden box. "Yes, my child," says the priest. Terror locked in a wooden box strangling my throat. If I tell my secrets, I think I might die. "Say 5 Hail Marys and 5 Our Fathers in an act of contrition," the priest says. I walk out of the confessional and look up at the sad Jesus on the cross. Then I say my prayers. I am gifted and talented. I'm the valedictorian in junior high, voted most likely to succeed. I excel in all my classes, math, English, science, social studies, art, and gym. Without trying very hard, I win award after award. I give a speech at graduation. My teachers tell me all the time that I am smart. "Where are you from?" They stop me all the time on the street. "New York," I say. "No, where do you come from?" "Jamaica? Egypt? Ethiopia? India? Dominican Republic? Trinidad? Brazil? You speak Spanish?" I didn't have a black identity until I applied for college. I checked the box marked African American. It was the closest box I could find. They didn't have African American, Indian, Irish, French, Canadian, German. I wrote my first application essay about being a black woman and my second about Dostoevsky's Crime and Punishment. I won a fancy scholarship to an elite majority white liberal arts college. I go to the Black Student Union freshman orientation a week before school begins. At the BSU, they say, "This space is just for us. Only black people can come in here because of our history of oppression. We need a space where we can just be with each other, where we aren't oppressed by white people." "What about my mom?" I say. "She's white." "She can drop you off," they say. I don't want to stay in a place where my mom's not welcome. That's never the way it was in my house growing up. Everyone was welcome. I'm an Oreo cookie, they tell me. Black on the outside, white on the inside. You don't know who you are, they say. Thank you.
All right, we have one more reader. Audrey T. Williams moved from Raleigh, North Carolina. Is that how you say it? Raleigh?
Raleigh.
Raleigh. Sorry, California girl. Okay. From North Carolina to Oakland in 2010, she believes in the power of truth-telling. Her focus is on sharing personal narratives in words and pictures, as this exposes the unique zeitgeist of that moment, the bigger picture of how society is operating at any given place and time. In her book, In Progress, Chutney and Chitlins, a mixed-race family memoir, Audrey sheds light on Black American life prior to the Civil Rights Movement, as told to her by her father, as well as the effects of colonialism reflected in her Anglo-Indian and Burmese family tree. Audrey is an MFA writing student at California College of the Arts, and you can learn more on her website, audreytwilliams.com, or by saying hello to her, because we're all here tonight. Please give it up for Audrey.
This is a beautiful crowd. Thank you so much, Christina. Thank you for Maria for organizing this. Thank you to Jackie and Faith as well. I'm going to read a short excerpt for you. Here we go. If left up to my only brother and me, I fear the cultural legacy of my family's Asian ancestry will reach a dead end. The Asian subcontinent and Southeast Asia seem so geographically far, so spiritually and culturally distant. I am not fluent in any of the languages of that region. And while friends from India assure me that if I was in Mumbai, I would be taken for a local, there's nothing about my physical features that would be readily identified as Indian or Burmese here in America, not without prior knowledge of my heritage. In my maternal great-grandmother's family recipe book, each recipe represents the slowly unfolding map of my maternal family's geographic movements, with changes in cuisine charting the way. A family recipe can represent a family ritual, and we all speak the language of food. I imagine each new dish being added as migrations and subsequent marriages brought new people and new cultural influences into our homes and into our kitchens. Over generations, this compilation has grown to serve as the culinary family tree of a multicultural family that started when Burma was known as British India, and India was thoroughly infiltrated by European colonials. I recently started cooking the recipes found in my great-grandma Georgie's cookbook, clinging to cuisine as a desperate attempt to reconnect my senses with a part of me that I want to be able to recognize, even if not in the mirror. Once there was a little brown girl who stood barefoot on pine needles in her backyard in the North Carolina coastal plain. She learned how to tell a thunderstorm's approach whenever that funny kind of sunshine showed up in sunbeams, filtered through clouds pretending to be sponges filled to bursting. Over time, she could discern the smell of rainwater carried on the wind as separate from proximity to the ocean, which she noted by saltwater carried on sea breeze. But then maybe she didn't learn any of it at all. Maybe evolution passed it down to her proper and honest, a gift from her great-grandmother, who was once a little brown girl who stood barefoot in her backyard in Mandalay or maybe Mumbai under sweet-smelling mango trees where she could recognize the certain scent of moisture carried on the wind as the first hint of the coming monsoon. Sense memories that I will never have. Glints of sun on the 22-carat golden dome of Rangoon's Shwedagon Pagoda. The aroma of freshly ground Thanika powder applied as sunscreen on my face. Trills from wild elephants in jungles of teak and mahogany. The rough feel of neem branches on the tender insides of my mouth. The flavors of durian and drumsticks fresh from the tree. I fear Asia will die in me. Thank you.